Welcome to Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight. My name is Pete Wright, and I am joined today by Jeff Fried. Jeff, hello. How are you?
Hello, Pete. I'm doing great amidst the snow here in Boston.
It socked you in?
No, I just pretend to be socked in. I just like being in. But there's been little enough snow that I enjoy what we have. I digress.
You can be warmed by the enthusiasm of our conversation today, Jeff. It's New Product Day. I don't know if you've heard, but the latest version of BA Insight's Visual Refiners is out, and you are here to tell us all about it. And now, given your typical hesitance to focus our podcasts exclusively on our own software and your role as CTO, I get the feeling you're pretty excited about this release. So if at any point you would like me to insert sounds of drum rolls or swishing velvet curtains being pulled back, I am at the ready.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just say drum roll, please. I'm very excited about this because this is probably my favorite of our products. It is a watershed because we're going mobile. So I don't, as you said, normally talk much about product on this podcast. This is about ideas, trends, more than anything else. But the confluence of several big trends of mobile, cloud, and user experience as a central attribute of what makes a great product come together in this release. And that's why I'm so excited about it.
For our listeners who aren't familiar with the tool, and we've mentioned Visual Refiners in the past, but why don't you give us an update of what Visual Refiners does and allows our clients to do?
Absolutely. Obviously, you can go to BA Insight's website and look at information about this product. It's in some ways one of our simpler products because it's an application that focuses on controls for the search center. And by controls, I mean web parts that include charts, graphs, lists, etc., different presentations of refiners. Refiners are the way you drill down into faceted search. We've also got an ability to search within the metadata that's in those refiners and to do multi-select. These are things that aren't available out of the box with SharePoint and come up all the time. There's selectors, things like sliders, which you might be used to if you are on Amazon picking a price range, but which aren't as prevalent inside the firewall just because people don't have them at their disposal. We also have things like saved searches so that you can rerun things that you've bookmarked, if you will, and saved results so that you can export to Excel a whole result set, share it with your colleagues or your customers, and use it as a record. So it's a set of controls that let you really easily configure a better search center. That's the essence of Visual Refiners. And we first came out with it almost 5 years ago in 2012. So what we're releasing, well, we released actually a couple of weeks ago. It's in production already after a beta period, but which we announced today, was a new version of it that supports Office 365 and mobile.
Okay, now that's the big news, right? Why does that end up being such a hole that is so important for you to fill?
Two reasons. The first is, I'll say, the fundamental hole that faceted search, which has been around for a long time and proven to be effective in consumer search, is often not used well inside the firewall. And I think that's a shame because it's a great way to get relevant results. So that's what caused us to create this product in the first place. And then the excitement about mobile is that there really hasn't been a pattern for mobile search, especially inside the firewall before. It's a relatively new set of practices. And I actually resisted, supporting small screens on our products for quite some time. We've supported tablets for 3 years. But to make a great experience on an iPhone or an Android takes an extra level of attention and an extra dimension of use in our product. So we've actually done that both with Visual Refiners and with our Smart Previews product. so that you can make a great sort of complete search application on mobile.
I don't want to derail you too much, but could you talk a little bit more about what sort of breakthroughs you had to get over, either yourself technologically or sort of personally, in thinking about mobile screens and BA Insight and your team and in figuring out how to support small screens well? What is it that makes now the right time to be doing this kind of work?
Well, what makes search on a small screen harder is, first of all, the things that make UX on mobile harder in general, that people are working with one eyeball and one thumb, and therefore you need things to be very usable. But because a typical search result is pretty text heavy and has multiple controls in terms of facets, etc., those have to change. The facets, which are the focus of visual refiners, what we've done is make them go full screen and change. If you're on a small device, it's modal, so the whole UI is reactive. And actually, we changed from if you remember, Silverlight was the initial release. We changed to HTML5 about 2 years ago, and we've sort of gone the next level here to make sure everything is both reactive and effective at a wide range of screens. When you go full screen on these controls, you then have the challenge of how to not trap people in dead ends. It's very easy to say, I want this in different dimensions and end up with no results.
Sure.
We've had to make the number of results visible to users quickly and sort of naturally, and when they're in full screen mode, so that they can then go back out and see the result set and sort of go back and forth. There's two other aspects of making an effective mobile experience. Previews, which we've also, as I mentioned, added mobile support for in Smart Previews, also go full screen and also have become reactive, and that's important for the same reasons. We've also made them be, I'll say, bandwidth conservative. So, you only load the most relevant page, and therefore, if you're working off of Wi-Fi and on 3G or 4G, you still get a good responsive experience and you don't have a horrid data bill. And then the other aspect, which we haven't productized but is part of a good mobile experience, and we can either help people in services or most of our customers sort of have this capability, is to design the result list itself so that it's good for mobile. And that's different display templates. And the relevance also needs to be tweaked because on my desktop or laptop, there's room for 10 to 15 results above the fold. On a small screen, you might have 2 or 3. So in order to get things so what you're looking for is right there, you have to tighten up the relevance and often do the faceting first so that you're not presented with a long set of results to scroll down. Did that answer your question about what we've done that's interesting?
Absolutely. How long have you been actually applying your sort of intellectual effort to this as a team? How long have you been working on figuring out this mobile experience for visual refiners?
Frankly, it's been slow burn behind the scenes for quite a while. When we moved to HTML5, we did it with mobile in mind. As we've added more controls, we did those with mobile in mind. And we waited until our customers were really asking us to provide a mobile experience. So in some things, for example, hybrid, I bet ahead of the curve and made sure that we were the first to have hybrid support and therefore have the most miles of anybody. For mobile, I'll actually say we're a bit late.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at this as news and say, oh, it works on a mobile phone, so what? We waited until our customers were really, really looking for it. And also, as you know, I follow the academic as well as the industry. In academia, there's what's called an HCIR community. It's that's human factors in information retrieval. And there's been no practices for what makes an effective, for gestures, swipe left, swipe right. So we've had to invent some of those and test them from a usability standpoint.
That's interesting. Any gestures that have jumped out that you're using that are sort of non-standard? Pinching multiple fingers. Have you explored those sorts of things in this release?
We've kept it very simple, and I've got some things in the back pocket, especially on people search and expertise search. And we've essentially just kept swipe left for delete, swipe right for edit on things like your preferences for saved searches. I can't wait until there's a people experience and I can pinch your nose, Pete, in order to make particular things happen.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Hey, so this is the mobile support is one of the big headline features of this. Other features that you're excited about that we need to be addressing with this latest edition of Visual Refiners?
Always. I mean, we've added a redirect feature, which is a bit of a sleeper. What I noticed was that our services consultants we provide training along with our products that's really done through mentoring. We have some great folks, several of whom have been on your podcast, that help our customers implement things and make sure that good practices are followed. And UX is a key one. That the good practice of doing what sometimes are called search verticals, particular focuses. This is for example, a lot of law firms have one for matters, one for people, one for practice knowledge areas. And I noticed that people were using metadata to indicate which kind of practice area was important and then wanting to use that. So we've essentially baked in a redirect so that based upon, let's say you have a set of practice areas and you want to click one, then you go right to a view that is nothing but that, rather than refining down one single standard view. And that's I'm excited about that because I often preach that one search to rule them all doesn't work well. Smaller, focused experiences work well, but you still want to give people one place to go. So this is a great way to do that. And there's a number of other features. One thing I'm also quite happy about is that we've revamped the documentation. Customers will notice that, I think, immediately if you go into our customer portal to have online guides, and we've actually used some of the controls from this product in that portal directly. So the key thing is the basic premise of the product, which has always done quite well on its own. But if you are looking at providing a mobile support for search in SharePoint has been weak in this area, and it is even harder to get a great search experience. So I'm really excited about helping people do that.
This is available right now.
Yes, it's available. It's already been shipping, actually. We've gotten quite conservative in terms of releases and announcements, which makes me happy. I would suggest that people who are listening that are interested in this, first of all, get your own sense of how your search is working today. If you're not using Visual Refiners, which is essentially a toolkit to make the UI much better and make it better easily, then look at how your search is working, especially whether people are using refinement today or not, which we actually have baked into our Smart Analytics product. And if you're interested in trying analytics as a way to measure how you're doing, just drop us a line. We have a special offer for that. You can check out the webpage about this product, the announcements, and I wrote a blog that has some interesting history for people about Faceted search, which came out of a university research project about 15 years ago. So learn more about Visual Refiners. Now, anything that uses this Faceted search paradigm depends upon metadata. So if you don't have metadata, you can look at how to make it by machine. And we have a product specifically for that called the Auto Classifier. And on any of these, just drop us a line if you want to explore further. There's a contact page on our website. There's also something in the show notes from this podcast.
Absolutely. Just swipe up on your podcast player of choice, and you will see links to all of these things that Jeff has just mentioned. And you can tap right on them and explore them on your own mobile device. I imagine you are listening to this thing on. And you know what? I will also throw in there episode 21 of the podcast we did, Building a Business Case for Search. You talk even more with the good Martin White about using analytics to to see what is going on, the good, bad, and ugly of your own search. So I'll throw that in there too, for good measure.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't fly blind. You can actually measure and run by how things are working. Look at incorporating, you've essentially baked a lot of experience in search UX into this product. So I'm always excited for people to benefit from that. That's why I get my giggles, is the more people that are actually using stuff I've built, the happier I am. Also, always interested in people's point of view, feedback, questions, comments, so don't hesitate.
Jeff, congratulations to you and the team. Another good release. It sounds like it is the end of a lot of hard work, and I am sure another milepost on the road to more great work ahead.
Yes, thank you very much.
On behalf of BA Insight CTO Jeff Fried, I'm Pete Wright. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening and subscribing to this show. We sure appreciate your time and attention. And we'll catch you next week right here on Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight.